This is the Sony Xperia 5 Mark III. It's a utilitarian phone with amenities best appreciated by photographers, filmmakers, audiophiles, and creative types. This phone was announced in April 2021. That's 9 months ago. And for all intents and purposes, it's a smaller, less expensive version of the Xperia 1 Mark III. And that being said, if you want to know my thoughts on all the big features, take a look at my in-depth review video for the Sony Xperia 1 Mark III. For this video, I want to highlight 5 things I like about the phone, 3 things I don't like about the phone, sticking with the 5 Mark III theme. All right, let's get into it and start with number 1, the size. This is such a small phone. Now, the iPhone 13 mini is smaller, and the screen on this is probably closer to like the iPhone 13 or 13 Pro. And yeah, I know that's a lot of Apple mentions for a video about Sony, but I can't think of an Android phone that's this small. Maybe the Galaxy Z Flip or the Motorola Razr, but those phones are only small when you fold them in half. Small phone. Oh, that's good espresso. Number 2, colors in photos from this phone are outstanding. They look natural. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that Sony is leveraging hardware expertise from its Alpha line of mirrorless cameras. The results are photos that look organic, and they're not trying to be clinically perfect like something I might get out of a Google Pixel 6 Pro or an iPhone 13 Pro. Number 3. As I walk past all these murals, I can't help but think about how much thought and how much intention the artists put into their artwork. They have control over everything from the subject and the colors to how big or small it is. And that's something I really like about the Xperia 5 Mark III. I have control over every aspect of taking a photo or shooting a video. I can control the shutter speed, the ISO, the way it meters the exposure. Now, I know there's other Android phones that offer similar controls, and there's other apps that offer similar features, but everything is integrated so well on this phone. It feels more like I'm using a camera than a phone. In fact, it has a shutter button that I can push halfway down to get focus and all the way down to take a photo. Number 4, this phone runs Android 12, and it looks so good on this understated body. Material UI on the Sony Xperia 5 Mark III looks fantastic, and I've only been running it a couple weeks, so I haven't noticed any major bugs or problems, but I mean, just look at those buttons. So good. Number 5, there is a technical miracle happening inside this thin phone. Most phones that have a dual telephoto camera setup have 2 separate telephoto camera modules. This only has 1. And the way Sony gets away with it is inside here, horizontal, is its telephoto lens. And there are little parts that move a lens element between a 70mm equivalent and a 105mm equivalent, both using the same camera module. And yeah, are there phones that have a longer zoom range than this? Absolutely. But when I'm taking photos at 2.9 or 4.4x optical zoom, they look incredible. All right, so you've heard the things I like about this phone. Let's talk about 3 things that, well, could be better. And the first is gonna be the fact that this phone does not have the Video Pro app. And what do I mean by that? So when the Xperia Pro I came out this past fall, it had a new app called Video Pro. Video Pro offers advanced settings to shoot video that are not as complicated as Cinema Pro, but not as basic as, well, the Photo Pro in basic mode. So if I want to record video on the Xperia 5 Mark III, I can only use basic mode in the Photo Pro app or Cinema Pro. Not fun. The second gripe I have with this phone comes when things start getting dark, and that's when these cameras start to hit the walls in low light performance. There's not even something like a night mode. Yes, Sony does do some processing to improve dark exposed photos, but nowhere on the scope of the iPhone or the Google Pixel phones. You know, I really do adore this phone, but it's the price point that holds me back from recommending it. I think if you are looking for a phone for $1,000, I would have you look at something like the iPhone 13 Pro or a discounted Galaxy S21 Ultra, or heck, save $100 and get the Google Pixel 6 Pro. Now, if you're a photographer or videographer and you can handle the mixed low light results, maybe this is worth considering. Now, if you're a Sony Alpha mirrorless camera owner and you want to have a consistent shooting experience between your camera and your phone, this is definitely worth considering, especially if you can find it at a discounted price. So that's all I got. If you want to learn more about the Sony Xperia 5 Mark III, check out the link in the description. But now I want to hear from you. What do you think of this phone? Do you think it holds up against something like the Xperia 1 Mark III? Would you get this over a Google Pixel 6 Pro or a Galaxy S21 Ultra? Throw your thoughts in the comments.